So guys, a couple weeks ago, Dehancer reached out to me. If you're not familiar with Dehancer, Dehancer is a film light color grading plugin that you can use inside your editing and color grading software. So I said, sure, why not? Now, in transparency, they sent this out to me for me to try for 2 weeks, and they wanted to get my honest opinion on this color grading plugin. So let's dive in. All right, so let's jump into the first clip. So I already have my clip pulled up here in my timeline, and the shot already looks great. I'm really happy with it, but I'm also looking just for that little final touch. So let's jump over to color, and I already have my last node set up here and labeled it for this Dehancer. And so let's jump over to settings. And like I said, image looks great, but I'm really looking forward to kind of separate the image just a little bit more and add a little bit more of a film grain to it, and possibly like a bloom or halation to some of these areas in the image. So I'm going to jump over to the default setting, which is right over here on the right hand side underneath film, and I have the profile Kodak Vision 3 250D. And that's basically, if I enable that, you're going to automatically see a change over here. So let's activate that, and you can already see by looking at that, by turning it on and off, how much it has affected the image. Now, of course, I can go through here and adjust that to my liking, but this looks great at the default setting. So you can see that it's just kind of toned down the colors a little bit, and there's just a little bit more of a separation in the images itself. And that's what I'm looking for, just that little final touch at the very end. So the next area, I'm going to bypass all of these for right now, Film Developer, and go all the way down to Film Grain. So if I enable that, I have it set at 1.0, so I'm going to enable that, and you're probably going to see just a little bit of a difference in the image, but I can adjust this. I can take it all the way up to 100, and you're going to see all the film grain added there. I really liked how it looked around, like 1 or 2. So I'm just going to go back, and we'll leave it at 2.0 at the moment. Turn that on, turn that off. So leaving that on, gonna jump down to halation here, enable that, and you can see that it's adding just a little bit of glow in the orange reddish area of the light bulb itself. So just looking at that, you can see that. Now I can actually increase that as well. Right now I have it set at 20.0. and you can see how much that's affecting that. So it's really just a personal preference when it comes to what you want your image to look like. All right, so I'm gonna jump down to bloom. I'm gonna activate bloom. This is the default setting, and you can see that it's right around the lighter areas of the image. And I'm gonna leave that off. So right now this is looking really good. So if I turn on and off the node here, you can really see a difference in the image. Now, what I can do is I can either increase this or back this off, and I'm going to go all the way down to output. So right now my total impact on the image itself is set at 100. But if I was to bring that down, you're going to see that I can take it all the way back down to 0. And if I do this a little bit quicker here, you can see that this is where we started, and this is where I've ended for that just little final touch. Now, sometimes I've kind of dropped this down to like 75%. So we'll go right about there. And that's looking pretty good right in there. Really liking that look. So right away, you can see the adjustments that I'm making to the image. And overall, I'm really happy with that. Once again, just that little final touch at the very end of basically the color grading process. All right, back in the timeline here, let's go to clip number 2. Now I chose this clip because it has a brighter background, and you're gonna actually be able to see more of an impact of what these areas in Dehancer is affecting. So we're on clip number 2. Let's jump back over to color. And I have a note here already set up. We're gonna label this Dehancer. All right, so now to apply the Dehancer profile, we're just gonna go up into Effects, do a search for Dehancer, and then we're just gonna drag and drop that right onto there. And then right away, you can see the default settings, how Dehancer is affecting the image. So if I was to turn this on and off, I'm thinking this looks really, really good, but it might just be a little too much here in the film grain. So I can be able to adjust that. So let's go back up to our film profile, which once again is the default setting of Kodak Vision 3 250D. I'm liking where it's set right now. Let's go to film grain. So automatically film grain is set to 35. So I'm going to decrease that a little bit. And then I'm just going to play the image here so you can kind of see that and how it's affecting that. And once again, that is looking really, really good. Now I might bring this back down just a little bit more, maybe around 20. Once again, it's just a personal preference thing. And of course, it depends on the project that you're working on. So let's go back down to halation, enable that. It's just adding a little bit of touch right around in here. And of course, affecting the brighter area of the image. I'm gonna leave that off for right now. And then I'm gonna come down to bloom. And what you're gonna see here with the bloom, when I enable that, is right around in here. And of course, in this area as well. That's looking pretty good to me right there. And then I'm gonna drop down to, once again, my output. And then I'm gonna take it from the very beginning where we started, and then back up to 100. And then if I wanna just find a nice balance between that, which is gonna be around 80% here. So that's looking pretty good right in there. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that I've just been testing out Dehancer for the past couple weeks, and that the areas that I'm drawn to right away, and I haven't been able to dive into these other like film developer, film compression, the areas that I went to right away because I'm just looking for that little final touch at the very end was my film profile, and then my film grain, halation, and bloom, and then of course my output. Those are the 5 main areas that I was interested in first diving into Dehancer and testing out, because once again, I keep repeating this, but I'm just trying to finish the project and just add that nice little final touch. Let's jump into clip number 3 here. So the image is already looking good once again. This was all shot practically. This is a film projector here, and we got a nice little lens flare there. And we're gonna go back in here and see what we can add to this image if it needs any little final touches there at the very end. So I already have this set up. Let's drag on Dehancer on here really quick. Once again, you can see already what the default settings are actually doing. Turn it off, turn it on. Once again, going with the same film profile. Going down to film grain, I might back this off just a little bit. Once again, a personal preference. That's feeling pretty good to me right there. And let's drop down to halation. Let's add that, see what that's doing. Just a little bit right in here. Once again, hitting those brighter areas of the image. And let's try bloom. Now you can see that bloom is right in here once I turn it on and turn it off. And that's just bloom itself, also around here, coming through the lens of the projector. And then let's go over to the node here and turn it off completely and then turn it on. I feel that Dehancer is just giving me that separation in the image. Sometimes digital images can feel just a little flat, and Dehancer is giving me that little separation. I like to call it separation in the image. So this is what I've been looking for quite some time. I feel like, you know, other film grain software can make it look really good, but Dehancer has really just kind of hit that spot that I've been looking for when it comes to the final touches on a project. I'm going to drop back down to output here, and I'm just going to take it back from the beginning, how it looked before we started doing the final touches in Dehancer. And then I'm going to bring it back up. I may drop it down to like about 75% here. I think that's looking pretty good on this image. So you can see that playing back. Have a nice little film grain here. So overall, it's looking really good. Once again, there's just so many things that you can adjust here in Dehancer, but these are the 5 main areas that I have been working in. Obviously, you have vignette, you have a gate weave, you have a film breathe, you have film damage. Let's just jump over into film damage really quick and enable that. And I'm going to play this clip back so you can actually see what film damage is actually doing. And you can see the little scratches in there. Now I can increase this. And then you're going to see more of those little scratches and damage on the footage. Once again, this is a personal preference when it comes to color grading. This is something that I probably would not use unless it's something that needs to be, that was incorporated into the storytelling or to whatever image I was shooting. So we're just going to leave that off right now. But there's just so much that you can go into. These are just the first 5 areas that I was drawn to when opening up Dehancer, because I knew that these were the things that would give me that look that I was looking for. Overall, I think this plugin is great. I've been kind of eyeing Dehancer for a very long time, and this was my opportunity to actually try it out and see if I like it. In all honesty, I do like it. I think it's a great way to finish off your film or videos. If you're just looking to add that little final touch, maybe that little bit of separation, film grain, halation, or bloom. Now, this was basically the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other things that are in this plugin that I just didn't have a chance to try out. So with that said, head over to Dehancer and check them out. I think they give a trial for a couple weeks or so. But if you're interested in purchasing Dehancer, I can offer you a 10% discount code, and I will leave that link below. All right, guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe, or give it a thumbs down, or leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this plugin, and let's start a conversation online. Until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next one.